sustainability, we are talking about process sustainability, we are talking about sustainable chemistry, we are talking about resource efficiency, we are talking about product safety. I mean, a good, clean, not harmful product in the end. So, it is all about consumer, it is all about worker, it is all about environmental safety and protection when we talk about sustainability. So it's actually a very wide canvas. And I think it is very difficult for the industry to get a grasp of what you talk about sustainability. So when we say pre-COVID and post-COVID, I think one of the biggest differences between the two is that post-COVID, I think there is more awareness about sustainability. Although the whole canvas is not being understood or grasped, but you have now a certain sort of demand for antimicrobial or hygiene products. So people are now talking about hygiene. They know that if the product is not safe, it may cause some harm. So I think we are moving on this journey. And as Aditya said, that it is going to take a lot of courage for the industry, because today, I think post-COVID, the first emphasis is survival. So the industry is now thinking of ways of survival. Maybe they might think of using sustainability for the survival. So even these kind of I would not call it gimmicks, but these kind of initiatives like antimicrobial, antiviral finishes on textiles and garments is all also being used for survival. And I think it is good, because, sustainability, if it is embedded in your business strategy, like Aditya has done. I have known Aditya for so many years, or Dr. Tyagi has done in Aditya Birla. They have embedded sustainability in their business strategy, or business operations. Unless and until you do that, I think, as Aditya said, it will remain a buzzword. It will just be something that, okay, you just go to some shop and try to buy something exclusive. It should be embedded in your strategy. That's what I think.
It's a very difficult road, as most of the industry has seen around the world, not only in India. I mean, it's not only difficult for India. It's same situation around the world, and there have been, so many roadblocks, specifically when there are also, the financial roadblocks are very big when you're talking about sustainability. Let's see. I mean, how much, as you said, conviction is the most important thing. How we can take this forward. So, Mr. Sunder, Belani, can you add your take on this?
Of course, we are a little different in our thinking. At Ramsons, for us, sustainability is a state of mind. It's actually giving back Earth, basically what we're taking from it. And, you can actually compare it, I know we're a little Indian in our thinking, to a kind of spirituality. So, in our sector, basically, which is laundry and finishes and stuff like that, both in apparel and commercial India, we've always focused on clean energy, clean water, and all that stuff, which is a part of sustainability. Like Mr. Pant said, that sustainability is a big sector, but a certain part, which is actually what we deal in, is like water, lesser chemicals. So we're giving back to Earth what we're taking from Earth, and most of our technologies revolve around that. So I just mentioned a little, like you see, we also cater to, besides apparel sector, to the hospitality sector. So I think the biggest dhoti ghats in Bangalore are today converted with our machines. The railways is now washing with our machines, but everything is sustainable now. Unhygienic conditions, bad effluent is not there anymore now. So sustainable technology has been in our blood from over 60 years from the time our company started. Of late, it's been taking this whole perspective about, actually, so in our company, we make sustainability very cost effective. If you see, our technology is as good, if not better, than its European makers. We've tied up with a lot of European collaborations, Fight of Germany, Xerox of the UK. We are bringing that sustainable technology to our country to actually make it affordable. So pre or post COVID is going to make a difference, because this technology now becomes very sustainable to use. So I would slightly differ with what Aditya and Pant says, that we cannot use it to that extent. It's a buzzword. It can be used now using equipment that has a return of investment of 4 or 5 months, which is nothing. if the technology is similar, if European technology is now made in India and we export to over 770 countries, I think it's a great way to look at things. So we are sustainable in what we do, ozones, nanos, and everything. And today, with this whole post-COVID, like Mr. Pant was saying, we are creating all these antimicrobial, antivirus, not exactly in the textile stage, Mr. Aditya, but in the apparel stage, in a bigger way. We've been doing at least, I think, 130 different products, which are now, we could call like a tumble dryer in a laundry. We have a thing called a conveyor dryer. We're using God's own air to actually dry garments, cutting down energy. So in every aspect of our engineering, we've adapted sustainability into that, Mr. Sandeep. And what I'm saying is, we can give you a cost-effective this thing, and that I feel was pre-COVID and is post-COVID. So post-COVID, yes, we have, like Mr. Pant says, we have antimicrobial, antivirus, we have UV chambers, we have ETO chambers, we have UV and ozone mixes. UV is a disinfectant, ozone is a sterilizer. So all that stuff is now making a great sustainable package for India to adapt. And I feel this is what we can definitely do. We can go sustainable to a certain extent, the buzzword, but we can. Thank you.
You're very correct. I mean, technology has to be economical, and it has to give a payback in shortest possible time. If you compare with solar energy, for example, 15 years back, or it was so expensive to produce solar energy. But now with the solar panels getting cheaper and cheaper, now we are in a position when solar energy can be generated, much more cost-effective way. So, Dr. Tyagi, I come to you. Madura is at the forefront of sustainability movement, I think. So, I mean, your views would be important. What do you think about the movement pre and post-COVID?
Thank you, Sandeep. My fellow panelist has already covered. I will try to give my perspective, what I understand of sustainability. I think, first of all, that sustainability as a topic is not understood correctly. It's belief. If you believe in that, then you can make things happen and you can make it part of your daily practice. I will just give you one example. When I started my career in garment industry, first I saw one denim unit. Denim unit means that blue water coming out of that unit is the denim unit.
Yeah.
Today, I don't think that way of throwing out blue water is sustainable. My philosophy is that it's not sustainability. Sometimes it is misused, but many times it is used properly. I consider sustainability is ability to sustain the way you work, way you think. If your mindset is not for sustainable topic, ability to sustain your business, your community, your industry, it's very difficult to sustain. So I think one thing which I have noticed is meaning of sustainability is misinterpreted many times. Doing one line on one product and claiming they are sustainable was earlier gimmick. Now, I think with that COVID, because some of the company earlier was well adopting sustainability as a part of their DNA. We are one of that, how we see value in that sustainability to put in a strategy, to put in operation and everything. But not many people believe in that way to have end-to-end. With that ability to sustain, I think focus has come suddenly from growth to survive and from survive to sustain. I think that is a clear mindset which I see in industry. Second thing, I think a lot of people earlier used to say that consumption is good, but now sustainable consumption, which come with right way of production, right way of technology, best use of resources. You hear nowadays that less water denim or waterless denim. It was kind of unheard earlier. Now I think sustainability, I'm seeing it moving more than compliance. And resource optimization from energy side to material side to waste side, even to chemical management side. I have seen, I would not say good progress, but reasonable progress in last couple of years. I see that momentum because of COVID will go much higher. Because you have already seen that some of the thing earlier no one has heard what is PP. Today PP has suddenly become main product for the garment and apparel industry. So sometimes that you are forced to be sustainable, not because of survival, but beyond that. I see that health and wellness to come mainstream. You are already seeing it. Comfort, cloth, relax wear. Also, I see that will be the mainstream. And if you have to bring all these changes and adopt all these things, you can't do it without supply chain recalibration. I think holistic version, if I say, it's a responsible consumption with the right choice of product, with the right partner and supply chain. I'm going to see that. I don't know how fast, but I'm seeing that to happen in at least next couple of months or year as a post-COVID or as a COVID issue.
I would like to add over here, Sandeep, that what Dr. Tyagi said. One of the main challenges for the industry, I think so, in pre-COVID as well as in the post-COVID, is going to be how to communicate to the customer about sustainability. Because many times, I ask this question: is the consumer demanding a sustainable product, or is the consumer really aware about sustainability? And I think that is one of the biggest challenges that will come now today because of the COVID situation being caused by a virus. There is expected to be a consumer demand for antibacterial or antiviral finished products. But how does the industry communicate about their sustainable efforts to the consumer? I think that is one of the challenges, and that is one of the issues that the industry should come together and talk about. I mean, we have had eco labels in the past, so you have some kind of label or some tag which is attached to the product. Because today, if I as a consumer go and buy a shirt or I buy a pair of jeans, how do I know, it has been made in a sustainable way? What kind of traceability and transparency issues you have when we are talking about the product? I think that is going to be one of the challenges.
Yeah, it's very right point. I think just to add on that, sustainability to bring as a mainstream, it is kind of ecosystem. It cannot be done by one company or one brand. I think you have to bring that whole ecosystem of upstream and downstream. If consumer is not part of it or supplier is not part of it, it will not come to that integrated approach of transparency and communication. I see that now from early stage experiment for technology enabling to bring transparency is happening with the digitization and maybe work from home. Demand for technology enabling may be much faster. I think very good point, and the consumer need to be part of that sustainable consumption. I call it
Yeah,
because if it is use and throw, that whole model is not sustainable.
exactly.
How durable, how sustainable consumption you are bringing consumer and customer into that is very, very critical and important.
Consumers, for the consumer side, if you see, if it makes the things easy for them, they participate. If you see in the electronic products in last 2 decades, how the standardization has helped, how the star ratings, 5-star ratings and all this have helped the consumers to understand which product is more sustainable. And they are ready to spend more money for that when they understand very clearly which is a more sustainable product. So, I mean, this kind of standardization is missing out in the industry, and we've been talking to so many industry leaders around the world, and everybody, there's no consensus on any because there's so many organizations providing sustainable standards. Of course, ZHDC is also playing a major role, but the thing is, there's no globally accepted standard of sustainability which can give a unique uniform direction to a consumer. And okay, this is this is the level of sustainable level of this product, and this is the level of sustainable level of this product. So you cannot compare two products and say, okay, I'm buying a more sustainable product. So that is probably something very missing from our industry.
So I think that Sandeep, right point added. SAC, Sustainable Apparel Coalition, which is a platform and coalition of retailer, manufacturer, and others. They are trying to standardize big index. They have done it for facility, and now they have done it for brand and retail BRM. Next stage, they are using MSI and product tool, how you can communicate to consumer. But our industry is a little laggard because we adopt technology and changes very slowly. Uh, if you see that you mentioned about electronic and technology industry, you have seen even Pantinium 10 and 12 coming so fast. Even your mobile change within 2 years to next version. I think adoption of technology is little slow in our industry.
I would like to say something over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Technology is always going to improve, and we can talk about adoption in technology. But the biggest challenge is that we are still not talking about regulating the total output. I mean, why is it a challenge to communicate to a consumer? I mean, that yes, a consumer walks into a store and they talk about, okay, this product is sustainable and this product is not sustainable. Why should there be such a need? Why should there be such a need? The problem is that yes, we are trying to create multiple approaches towards sustainability. We are trying to commercialize sustainability. Till the time we don't stop commercializing sustainability. I mean, today if we talk about a challenge of why 80% of apparel brought in Europe or particularly in the UK finally goes into the landfill. So whether the brands whose products have gone into the landfill, okay, and they have been able to sell only 20% of their products which the consumers are being able to use or are using. So if that particular brand talks about part sustainability and part not sustainability, the entire communication is as it is going to be lost. So why have we lost out on the concept of durability? All the test standards that we are following in terms of garment performance or textile performance are all rooted towards the highest level of performance in terms of durability. In spite of that, there is a struggle to sell it at its true value. I mean, today, if you want to give a consumer a cheap product, obviously they are going to buy a cheap product. But then they don't appreciate that cheap product. The moment you make the product aspirational and you make only what is truly sustainable available, will the consumer go towards buying non-essential items, or will they actually spend money on the essential item that they need? Today, the entire apparel industry is struggling with the fact that yes, we see growth only in terms of top line numbers. And top line numbers today, because we have gradually reduced the price of an apparel to such a level that the top line number can only be achieved, or top line and bottom line can only be achieved with the increase in number of units. The industry is not trying to overall in terms of trying to ensure that yes, the top line and growth numbers can be achieved in terms of value offered to the customer through reduced number of units. And that is where this entire, till that time, that gap is not sorted out. Till that time, that courageous steps are not taken. I really don't think that yes, adoption of technology or adoption of new processes is actually going to help. Today, wasteful production is close to 50% of the, at least would be 50% of the total output of the global apparel industry. I mean, if we cut out this 50% of surplus production, I think a whole lot of items or a whole lot of issues with respect to sustainability will automatically get covered.
You're right.
So, Sandeep, we're talking about a standard of sustainability. From our company perspective, because obviously we do a lot of laundries and finishing, we have a sustainability software that actually tells you how sustainable your process is. And now post-COVID, we've added a sterilization angle to it. So, it's a very good software that actually measures your water, your chemical, your input. And that's the key to how sustainable your technology is towards your product. I just wanted to mention this point as to how standardization in every aspect is possible. And in technology, we've got that. It's called a Ramsoft. And, it just feeds in different recipes and tells you your green or your red or your orange and stuff like that. Just to update you that we do have in our areas of technology some kind of a sustainable software.
So, very good point. I think Aditya has brought, and Mr. Belani has mentioned about software and integration of laundry wastage control. But I think bigger point is that how brand and supply chain is together. Because if you talk about that brand and retailer, mostly in Western world, US or Europe, their supply chain is mostly in Asia. So how you have that integration of brand philosophy with supply chain philosophy to bring cohesiveness and collaborative approach. I think one of the point which I keep seeing in last 2 decades, our industry is built on make, sell, and dispose. If that model is continuing, that you can't have that supply chain and supplier with brand and consumer together. So to bring that from make, sell, dispose to make, sale, repurpose, and resale. I think that whole concept of material optimization in circular transition from linear model of make, sale, and dispose will come when brand is joining hand with supplier, with the R&D institute, with the technology supporter, including laundry, fabric, and fiber even. I think that I see very, very early and framework related work in that circular transition. But until unless you bring collaborative approach of brand and supplier together for that model, it will not go to that more into talking point to that business model level. I see that in coming time, I think more and more push will come from consumer to get transparency and whole model which is sustainable and non-linear.
Very well points by everybody. I mean, Dr. Tyagi, I just want to respond to your point. The collaboration between between the retailers and the supply chain. If you look at internationally, what happens is there's so much of competition increasing between the supply chain themselves that the collaborations are very weak. What do you see? The retailers which used to have long relationships with with their suppliers previously, those relationships have shortened to a great extent because they want to go for somebody's coming out with a cheaper product with a better price and everything. So that has also impacted how this collaboration and kind of a partnership between the entire supply chain should remain. And there have been talks that with due to post-COVID, a number of factories or let's say units in the supply chain probably closing down, and many retailers have already announced their Chapter 11 bankruptcies and other things. So, I mean, that happens. I mean, there probably are possibilities that the post-COVID collaborations and cooperation between the entire supply chain might be stronger than before.
Yeah, I would like to add to this point, and especially what Dr. Tyagi said about the relation between brands and retailers with their supply chain. So, as you rightly said, Sandeep, this relation between brands and retailers and the supply chain has never been a very long-term thing. I mean, there are some brands who are working with supply chain partners on a long-term basis, but many of the brands and retailers, especially the US and the European brands and retailers, keep shifting their suppliers depending on the price and all. That is one issue I think which is going to impact the industry in the post-COVID phase, because as you rightly said, many brands and retailers themselves in Europe and the US, they have filed for bankruptcies, or they are They are also in a survival position, and we have heard stories that they have cancelled their pending orders. They are not making payments of the shipments made to suppliers, and the suppliers are having a huge cash flow problem. Even amongst the many brands and retailers, there have been layoffs and people sent on furloughs and all. So it is a very, very difficult period, and I think it is very essential that brands and retailers today support their suppliers. I mean, when you're talking about sustainability, I think social sustainability is also one of the key aspects. I mean, technology, chemicals, or resource efficiency is also there, but social sustainability is also one of the key efforts. I mean, you have been talking about sustainability, but if you are not supporting your suppliers in working together to survive the COVID impact, I think you are not committed to sustainability. So I think this is going to be one of the key factors post COVID, that if there is support by the brands and retailers to the industry will still continue to its journey on sustainability. Otherwise, it's just going to be, uh, I mean, to use a Hindi word, it will be a maramari. So I mean, survival of the fittest. I think this is a very key point that you have brought out. And the second thing I would like to point out is that we are talking about the global brands. But what about the domestic brands? When we talk about our domestic brands, and I'm not talking about Aditya Birla. I mean, you are already quite ahead. But I have interacted from ZHDC with a lot of domestic brands because I've been trying to see if we can anchor the ZHDC program with their business strategy. And I find that although quite a few brands are welcoming this idea, not many of our domestic brands want to venture into this journey of sustainability. They are quite happy with talking about pricing and trying to sell products at the lowest price. You know, so there is a definite gap between a global brand and retailer and their supply chains and our domestic brand and supply chain. And this, I think, will be there will be a huge turmoil. I think post COVID. I mean, you will see certain brands who will still be committed to sustainability, who will support their supply chain partners, but a lot of brands and retailers, because they themselves are in doldrums, they may not be able to support their supply chain. And then, of course, we will have to see how sustainability is really adopted.
Just one
Very
thing,
true.
Prasad. I just want to add that if you have technology that is cost effective, a lot of people won't get into that because there is that whole thinking of sustainability coming in deeply into a lot of spheres. And if you have sustainability that technology that's actually cost effective, I think people should adopt that. And that's just why, because it saves costs, it's sustainable, and it's the way forward. It's not just how much you save on water, chemicals, and all that. It's the entire thought process that yes, with this technology, you do have a way forward for sustainability that's cost effective. It's a point I think a lot of people can do. We are a make in India company, and I think compared to European majors, we are 30-40% of the price. ROIs are 4 to 5 months. I think it can get into a mainstream and a mainstream thing. It's a way of
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, Sandeep ji. I think, first, I think the mindset should change that sustainability is a cost.
Yeah.
I think it should be viewed, and I can give hundreds of examples that if you really embed sustainability in your business strategy, it actually helps you to save costs. I mean, it may take a little time, but it is the return on investment is huge. I mean, you do save costs, and if you try to adopt sustainability measures, like you said, the technologies to save water and to improve productivity, and actually measure those areas. And as Aditya said, cut your wasteful production. I think you actually save cost. So I always think that it's a misnomer that sustainability will increase my cost. I
Correct.
think it reduces your cost.
That's
I
the
think
point.
the right point added, just I think from my perspective, sustainability is many times it is myth that means cost increase. Actually, it is reverse. When you optimize your resource, right optimization of your resource is actually cost saving. I can give you 2, 3 examples which we have seen in last couple of years. Electricity, we move from traditional electricity to renewable energy, climate, that clean energy. You know that one side clean energy, other side it is saving almost 30% of my energy bill. Second, I think uh, Mr. Aditya mentioned about our plastic initiative. When we took first initiative to remove the plastic, it was unheard in India. 5 years before, I think we were the first one to remove carry bag in our retail shop. And the people objected internally that it is cost, we need to pay higher, this and that. But I noticed that by eliminating all these plastic waste, actually we save 5 crore rupees. So sometimes I think that myth that sustainability means cost is also not true. We are trying to embed that into philosophy that it's not always adding cost. It's optimizing the resource and getting better transparency, fact base and database, what is saving or what is not saving.
I totally agree with all of you. In terms of sustainability is definitely misunderstood by most people in terms of increasing cost. As a manufacturer, you can always, if you are truly ingrained in sustainability into your system, you will definitely be able to shave costs. But at the same time, in the entire textile industry, at least till the textile stage, or even let's say till the apparel stage, your process costs with respect to energy, with respect to primarily with respect to energy and water, they form just about 20 to 25% of the total material cost. 10% to 15% would be manpower and other costs, and between 50 to 75% is going to be raw material costs. Sustainability in true sense cannot be embedded into a textile product till the time the raw materials are made clean. And when it comes down to raw materials, again, within the raw material basket, between 10 to 15% is going to be dyes and chemicals. The bulk of that is going to be either cotton or tencel or polyester or you name the fibers in the world. Today, we talk about cleaning up cotton or we talk about recycling. The huge amount of circularity discussions that have started in the last 1 year. But again, coming back to what I said earlier, why do we have to actually invest so much into recycling? The entire agenda towards recycling or making the industry circular is because of the excessive production that is happening. And that excessive production is actually not translating into the right value. Now, if let's say in India, I'm sure all of you agree, the entire system of handing down goods of Apple automatically ensures a significant long life to a product. The use of damaged fabrics or second quality goods gets converted into good, reasonable product for the less privileged sections to buy from. So effectively, there's this huge extension that yes, a product actually does not go to a landfill till the time it is actually in tatters, beyond which there is no further recovery or reuse potential left in that particular product. Now, how deep down can we actually get the system done so that we don't actually need to talk about recycling? Today, I think we have enough raw material in the world that if we stop using virgin polyester or virgin raw material, maybe for the next 20 years, we don't need to do anything. But yes, can we afford to get into a scenario like this? What about the entire farming community? This large human farming community which is depending on their livelihoods by growing cotton. Okay, what will happen? Today, in theoretical terms, we don't need new raw material. We hear so much about plastics that yes, we recycle only 9% or 10% of global plastic production every year. And plastic recycling has been talked about for the last 20 years in constant terms. But in spite of that, we still manage to do only 10% recycling. So at the end of the day, where is the entire problem is starting with production, with too much of production, too much of product available on the shelves, too much of product which is finally going to get discarded. And when it is going to get discarded, automatically it is leading now to circular discussions. Earlier it was only sustainability, today sustainability, and with closing the loop. This is a never ending merry-go-round which is going to happen till the time a formal firm reset is not going to be established.
So this is definitely antonyms. I mean, circularity and fast.
Is going to get back a world quota system for apparel.
But
balance, I mean, I had attended one lecture by an eminent personality, and he had actually said that if you really want to be sustainable, and as Aditya said, the first thing is to reduce your consumption. So all of us have to reduce consumption. But if I reduce consumption, then it is going to impact economic, because economic prosperity is also one of the circles of sustainability. So if I use a cycle to go to my office, I am being sustainable, but then I am depriving, a whole lot of supply chain of a car production or the workers of a car production from prospering. So it's a very delicate balance, as you said. I mean, we all talk about circularity in textile, but not even 1% of our garments are being recycled, in spite of so much of talk. So yeah, it's a point where really we need to debate.
No, I think that good point added. But my point of view here is, I think sustainable consumption is one way of it. But when you talk about recycle and circularity, suddenly person tell that you have to pay so and so upcharge because they are adding value of recycling. Ideally, recycling should be 20% lesser cost because you are making from your waste. So they don't count that waste, what is in system, until unless you get visibility of waste end to end. People will be asking additional upcharge, this and that. I think that whole system need to be transparent. Where is the cost, wastage, and value add?
True, absolutely. You're right. I mean, till the time that transparency is not there, obviously there is always going to be a lack of trust factor in terms of what you need to do. But at the end of the day, Mr. Tyagi, someone needs to make a start.
Yes.
Someone needs to make a start. Someone needs to trust their supply chain. Because till the time the trust in the supply chain does not exist, no transparent discussions can happen. Till that time, everyone will try to protect their own pockets, and that is the biggest challenge. Now, till the time you don't bring in, and I'm sure, when will trust come in? And when will you be able to start trusting your supply chain? Till you know that, yes, you are being able to accept the value and being able to convince your end consumer that, yes, this is the right value to pay for the product that you're offering. The problem is today we are all skeptical about what our consumers want because we are trying to give them so many options. The problem is you reduce the options, I'm sure. Like today, what Mud Jeans is doing. I mean, I am very impressed with their story, with the conviction of Dion and Bert once as to what they're doing. If they're a denim company bringing in leasing, it's extremely radical. Yes, why do you have to produce something which is going to cost you $15 to make and sell it and try to sell it for $30 and post discount try to sell it for $20 or even less than that? Wherein yes, you can get people who don't want to use it too frequently. You can get them to lease. So you're automatically increasing the shelf life of that particular product. You're ensuring that yes, that product is going to be used for a long period of time. That yes, the manufacturer and the seller are going to make sure that their incomes are getting protected or the return on investment is going to happen because it is not once. It is not just selling. It's not about selling one unit. It is about making sure that that product can be utilized over a long period of time by multiple people, getting them their sense of satisfaction of wearing a good product, but at the same time not destroying the entire retail system. So, in terms of bringing in the right value, automatically you partner with the right set of people who are going to ensure that yes, now your denim is not going to be just a use and throw product. That yes, you're using a cheap raw material which is going to look good for the first 3 times you wear it, and after that you are also not interested in wearing the product and you want to throw it. So the courage to create a product which is going to last for 20 years and can be actually worn by multiple people in that period of 20 years, that is the courage that is required. And I'm sure the value proposition that this kind of a system can bring in can be immense. Because then you will have to invest into the right raw materials, into the right processes, into the right chemistries. And the moment you do everything right, there is no way that you can be doing wasteful consumption of raw materials. But yes, investing into this kind of a product will definitely need efforts, will definitely need a lot of development or research. But once that happens, you can be absolutely certain about the value of the product. But that is a trust that everyone needs to bring in. That's a trust that the entire supply chain needs to invest into each other.
Yeah, it is two-way process.
Yeah.
Because currently that relationship of supply chain and brand is transactional.
Yeah.
Once it goes from transactional to that transparent,
yes,
where both sides come together and collaborate.
Yeah.
Next level is the trust. I think the deficit is in that current situation. Actually, it has increased rather than.
Yes.
So I think to bring back the trust factor, supply chain recalibration, I foresee, because otherwise people will move from one country, one supplier to other. That's not going to be sustainable. I'm forcing that strategic partnership will play a key role, because not all these transactional activity will sustain longer.
Yes.
I think there's, all these points raised by all of you are, really so valid, and it's this whole situation of getting more sustainable at a lower cost is such a complex balance, which is and with our consumers losing their pockets, losing the jobs in the recent times, that balance is going to becoming even more difficult. So we are actually getting it for the next this thing. So I just request a quick short summary from each of you regarding final. What do you feel about post-COVID? We are going up, or we are remaining at the same level, or we are going down?
So I feel that post-COVID, my reading is that the industry will start considering more aggressive adoption of sustainable practices. And I'm not talking about only the textile manufacturers, but overall, if you see, as Dr. Tyagi said, he talked about recalibration of the supply chain, for more transparency and collaboration between the brand retailers and the supply chain to deliver, more sustainable products and processes. I think it will accelerate.
I've been pushing all my customers to adopt sustainable products right for the past 15-20 years now, ever since I've been part of this industry. I strongly believe that yes, people are trying to do that. I am sure that yes, there will be a lot many questions coming in, a lot many requests coming in during this time. And to be honest, I see only those people as Dr. Tyagi and what Mr. Belani had also said earlier, that yes, people who have the courage to sustain their businesses, or who have managed to sustain their businesses during this time, have been able to do so because they have brought in, or they have a certain level of sustenance, systems, adoptions, and customers available to allow them to succeed in the toughest of scenarios. And these are the people who are going to now reset the agenda. And I'm sure that yes, sustainability is going to get along. I mean, just for an example, the next set of whatever orders I've got in this particular during the lockdown now, somehow or the other, all of them are sustainable products. Not one single conventional product order has come, which automatically is an indicator that yes, people who have invested into sustainable production in the past for sustainable products to their consumers are the people who still have the courage to run their stores, run their lines. People who have not had and who just depended upon impulse purchases by their customers, they are actually struggling. And the reset button is automatically getting created, which in this scenario. So hopefully things are going to be far better. The agenda that we have all been trying to achieve towards sustainability and circularity is going to happen by default. Let's hope that no one gets hurt in this entire process.
That's the most important.
As an industry, we can thrive.
Mr. Aditya, because sustainability is the way forward. It's the mantra.
Yes.
And then you make it cost effective.
Yeah.
There's no reason why not. And we were saying sustainability is actually making things cost effective. And now post-COVID, with this whole sustainable concept, when you have this angle of hygiene and sterilization, I think that's the way forward in life. So we are offering, as a company, all this in one entire package. And it's great for the world to use this because, I think that's the way forward. And I think post-COVID, sustainability has more value than it had pre-COVID. I think that's the way forward, Aditya and Pant and Tyagi. Great seeing you guys. Yeah. Adi, Tyagi ji.
I think you have well articulated. From my side, I think what I feel, the lot of struggle at this moment many company and partner has. But over survive only that people who has ability to sustain. And I foresee in that because whatever we have been doing last 7-8 years, now I see true value in that. Because even in this lockdown, we have everything so much data and fact base. What is possible to save, what is possible to create as a next avenue. I think sustainable consumption, I see with the right choice of supply chain, with the well support of systematic chains, bringing technology and data driven. Because if you claim that you are reducing 10% water or 20% carbon, you can't make bluff. You need to have data driven and systematic approach. The kind of focus, kind of rhythm I got in that 3-4 months for digitization and digital version, I'm seeing that it is not going to get away when things reopen. So your database, your digital based approach is going to take you to sustainable way of whether it is material, supply chain, consumption, or consumer. So don't miss out that digitization and technology as a enabling to take you to sustainable consumption.
Thank you. I think so many valid points. I mean, it's difficult to put in a summary, but yes, all the points shared have been very valid. And if you see, as you said, all of you, I mean, stress on technology and cost saving through sustainability and finding the right partnerships and long-term relationship with the supply chain. And these are all the things which are going to make difference. And as the panel is kind of, agreed on the point that the sustainability efforts in India will be stronger than before post-COVID. So I thank you all for wonderful debate and contribution, and I think our viewers also enjoyed it a lot. And I thank all of you, and also I request all of you, all the panelists, to visit our show, meet our exhibitors and visitors, and talk to them, and use this wonderful platform. And also our visitors over here to also visit all the companies and the booths, and so that's what we are here for. I mean, we're trying to initiate a new way of doing business. So we hope that it works and people are able to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.